Okay, hello. Today, our topic, this is the Primo V Become an Expert series. It is where I am. It's November 18th, 10 a.m. Eastern. And our topic this week is the Central Discovery Index. This is week 9 of our 12-week series. And I do want to call out next week is Thanksgiving in the United States. And so we are not having a session next week. We will resume in 2 weeks. And then we'll have 3 weeks in a row in December, and we'll finish up this series. So if you are not in the United States, you might not realize that that's a holiday, pretty big holiday here. And so we're going to be taking next week off from this series. I saw a question just come up asking about Primo V, Become an Expert. I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is paste. This is the link to the whole series. And last week I had a little technical display with my Wednesday night show, if you will. And so we're only using the recording from last week with us on Thursday. And so that is here under the local data scope. And I think last week, if memory serves, I think it was last week, it might have been delivery. My brain's kind of not getting. Someone asked about sorting results, like if you have multiple electronic collections and sorting those. And Lori had put that answer in the chat, and it's in the Q&A docs. And I thought it was someone in this session. Yeah, it was. It wasn't the Wednesday night session for me. It was the Thursday session. So the Q&A docs, and like I said, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but whoever asked that, or if you're concerned about that or have a question, it is in here for you. I have not given my boss this PowerPoint for this week yet because we have a new feature and I was putting that into place. And then last night I got another question and I had to add a slide. So as soon as this session is done, and as long as nothing else comes up that I really think needs to be in there, I'm going to give this to my boss and she'll post it. Okay? So that's why it's not out there yet. I'm furiously making sure everything was up to date. Okay, let's get this in place. Here we go. We are, here's our topic, the CDI, or Central Discovery Index. And you're going to hear people and documentation and everything say CDI a lot. So that is just an acronym we have embraced quite strongly. And so this is our agenda. We're going to be talking about what is it, the availability flag that shows out in Primo, out in Discovery, how's that determined? How can you control that flag? Then we're going to talk about some settings for working with the CDI data and get into which one you might be on and how to determine which one you might be on. We're going to be talking about CDI attributes, how they're searchable, where they display, where you can find that information. And then we have some troubleshooting scenarios to go over as well. So our first topic here is CDI. So what is it? So in your environment, electronic resources make up a large portion of your repository today, and seems like more and more as time passes. So patrons need to be able to search for and discover those materials and then access that content, whether it's a collection to which you subscribe, an open access repository, a database. So that means there's two components to think about. There's the discovery side and then the delivery side. So the Central Discovery Index, or CDI, right now it's sitting at about 4.5 billion citations, and this is growing at about 10% annually right now. It is the main repository that your patrons are searching when they conduct a search for electronic content. If they're searching that, we called it articles, or remember, if you're doing a blended search scope profile where you're searching your local content plus that article index, it's that article level metadata. That's the Central Discovery Index, or CDI. You may also have digital repositories that you've included in Alma, but in this session, we're focusing on how to get to electronic content that is not stored in local repositories. So we're not doing digital, we're just talking electronic. Most resources are free to search. So and that's just searching, it's not access. However, there are some products that vendors require a subscription to search. One example is an A&I database because that's the product they're selling. You know, that's what it is. Other ones, it's generally more specialized data. It's not your general, more widely used electronic collections that you're really familiar with. And then if we go over here to the discovery side, there's different configurations in Alma that handles the linking to that electronic content itself. This may be in the full text of articles of e-journals, e-books, research outputs, data, open access content. So each citation that comes from the Central Discovery Index is going to provide information on how to get to that content. It might be a direct link to the material, or it might be saying, hey, Alma, I need your link resolver to help me out. So you tell me the best place to access this content. And some resources will require authentication or authorization to access. And that authentication or authorization could be determined by your physical location. Like if you're in the library on campus, recognizes your IP range here, have it all. But if you're at home or not on campus, you might need to log in to access because Primo doesn't know who you are. Primo shouldn't be giving me your institution's data that you pay for because who am I? But Primo has to know who your users are before they would offer up something that to which you subscribe and pay for. So how does all this work? Well, starting out, Ex Libris and ProQuest work with publishers, aggregators, other subscription, and open access repositories to acquire citation data on an ongoing basis. And then this information is loaded into our Central Discovery Index. So then when the library users conduct searches in the discovery system, they're searching this index along with the library's local collections, depending on which search profile they're using. So this was the blended search profile. Then when they receive the results that display are from the citation information brought back from the Central Discovery Index, how that's an article. That article is not in Alma. The article is in Central Discovery Index. That article level metadata we don't have in Alma. And so after that, when the content is available, patrons can get to it by clicking on the link. They're then brought to the full text in a subscription database or open access database or some other repository where that material resides. These full text links here, they appear in Discovery because those electronic collections were activated in Alma. So let's take a moment and let's look at what this looks like in Primo V. My voice is fading away. Okay, I don't know what is going on. Thanks for the heads up. I've got everything plugged in. I got a fresh battery. I'm making sure my little cord is across my chest. Hope this sounds good. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go over to Primo. So I'm going to do that same search. That's in the slides. Chocolate and health. So I did an everything search. So that's the blended search result. I could have also done the article search. That is searching only the Central Discovery Index. So, so we're seeing these articles here. Now, when I did this search, you see I have just under 130,000 results. And remember this initial search, everything here has this available online flag. So the intention is that when your users come in and search, that initial search, they're going to have a positive outcome to anything they see. They can get it off the shelf. They can get it electronically because this is content you own. This is content to which you subscribe. So now we call this a filtered search for that reason. Now, if your user chooses to expand the results, notice see everything's available online, available online, available online. As I scroll down, that flag is on for all of these. Now, if I choose to expand my results, so as a user, I'm taking that action, my results have more than doubled. Now we're up to over 300,000 results, but you'll see a number of them, we don't access. The library does not subscribe to this data. Now I can click on this login. Maybe I'm going to initiate an ILL request or resource sharing. So that is what, so we're searching now in this case, the entire Central Discovery Index. And I'll explain why I'm searching the entire Central Discovery Index. That can be searched by default. These are most results are searchable. I talked about how some things require a subscription to search. These are the things that can be searched freely that vendors have said, yes, please include us if someone is searching your Central Discovery Index content. Okay, so we're gonna talk about why things show up in either case. I'm gonna go back to my filtered search of things that to which I subscribe. So if I look at this very first article, Chocolate and Health-Related Quality of Life, a Prospective Study, I see this is an open access resource. It's also peer reviewed. I see it's available online. So if I go into this record, go into a little more detail, if I hover over any of these links, so the full text availability, I can get this article. This article is actually in this is the journal name. And this is the issue where I can find it from 2015, volume 10, and then the pages. So remember, the article is in an Alma, this journal is, and this journal is found in all of these collections. So each of these collections has a portfolio for this journal. Now the coverage, you can see the coverage might be a little different. Now these all look like they have coverage starting from 2006. But in some journals, you might see some variety here between, okay, I don't know what, okay, we're getting more comments about my audio. So I've got a headset on. I hope that, and I have a fresh battery. Let me, you know what, let me change my battery. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Let me check. That battery was shot, and other people are saying their audio is fine. So I'm very confused. Okay, so these are those electronic collections where you can find this. And then if I look here, if I hover over one of these, down at the bottom of the screen, you can see I'm using the link resolver. So down at the bottom, you'll see NA07, Primo, xlibrescript.com, and then new resolver. So this is where I know this result is coming from the link resolver, not a link in the record. So now our first topic is going to be talking about this availability flag that shows up. And we're going to take a look at how that is determined. I don't understand how some people are having audio issues and some aren't. This is really confusing for me. Okay. Okay, so let's go over here to the PowerPoint. And we're going to talk about that availability flag. So when okay. Sorry, I'm seeing chats coming in. Okay. So when we see when I click on an article that was flagged as available online to see the full record, I could see that journal name in which the article was published. And then I can also see the electronic collections that provide access to that specific issue where the article can be found. Switching over to Alma, and what I can do is I can see the portfolio level. So I did a portfolio level search for that journal. And I can see, this is the portfolio level because I could see that the provider is tied to that. I can see that this is coming from the community zone and that it's active. The little people here are blue. If they're gray, remember it's not active. So that's where that information is coming from. And if I were to do an electronic collection search for this collection named in this profile, I can see, again, it's coming from the community zone. I can see those search rights in CDI are free. So this would show up even if I did the expanded search and I didn't have a subscription, this content would show up. And I don't have this flag to not show up for a particular reason. Now, I want to mention this screenshot is from an environment with the easy active setting. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So Alma and the Central Discovery Index work together to determine that since the portfolio or publication is active at Alma, that the journal should be marked as available online. And then Alma communicates this information to the Central Discovery Index using a process that Alma collects all of the electronic holdings that you have active and available in Alma and publishes it to the Central Discovery Index. If we're talking about active databases, collections that don't have portfolios, publishing includes identifier, the database identifier and coverage. And then the Central Discovery Index matches relevant content and marks that content as available online. There is a job that you want to make sure it's under resources, publishing profiles, publish electronic records to CDI. And so this should be on, active, and running once a day in your environment. Double check that in your environment. So anything you have active is automatically the benefit of Alma and Primo V is that we have the single activation. You activate a resource in Alma and it does the activation out in the Central Discovery Index for you. Before, when Primo, remember Primo predates Alma by a number of years, and when it was a completely separate product, you had to then go over there and turn it on there too, because they didn't, like, Alma published to Primo, but it didn't do that switch for you. So with Primo V, one check, one activation takes care of it in Alma and out in Primo for you. So let's talk a little bit more about controlling that availability flag. You have 4 different options available to deactivate or activate a collection in Alma. And this can be done in the electronic collection service. So I'm at the service level of this resource. This means that this is like a big light switch. Is it available or not? So if the availability flag in the search results If this is set to not available, then in the results, it's going to say no access. Links to full text will not appear in the full record. This is the most straightforward way to disable the availability flag, but there are a few other settings that would give you a little bit more control. So option 2, you will notice on the CDI tab, or when you're activating an electronic collection, you have this choice to make. Do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma. What will happen if you check this box? The resource will show as unavailable in the search results, but the links to the full record will, the links to full text will still appear in the full record. The use case for this is, let's say you have turned on a lot of open access content in your environment and you don't want to clutter CDI search results with that open access content, but still want to provide the link to the full text if it happens to exist in other subscription databases. So that's one use case for this scenario. Another use case for this scenario is we're talking about ebooks that can show up in CDI search results. We used to use this same flag, but it obviously had pros and cons, whether it was checked or not. And what we do, we have new functionality that we were waiting for to release in the November 2021 release of the software, and it's in place now. So this scenario I'm talking about, it's a specialized scenario. If you are doing a blended search in Primo and you could potentially get duplicate ebook records. Now, some libraries said the more the merrier, I don't mind, that's fine. Where other libraries may have checked this box to prevent those duplicate ebooks from showing, but then you would, lose out. What if chapters or book reviews, etc., were out in CDI? You would lose that content. So with this new functionality, this is resolved. So if you prefer using your own ebook catalog records, we all know a lot of ebook records are lacking. We're always working on that content, but it's not always great right now. And so if you get your ebook bib records and like to manage those yourself in Alma instead of using the CDI bib records, that's fine. But now we have made it so that you can go into your configuration of this search profile slot or the search profile, and you would do this on the blended search profile, and you can choose to exclude CDI ebooks. So this is a setting under configuration, discovery, search config, search profiles, and you would go into that blended search and check this box. So what this is going to do is if you are doing that blended search, you are still going to see the bib, your local bib records, but you're still going to get any metadata, any data out of the central discovery index, book chapters, book reviews, articles about the book, whatever it is that you would need. So if you are using the the community zone records for your ebooks, then it's not a concern. It's not a concern. And I'm seeing another question come in that I do want to address just so we get this cleared up. If you do not choose to exclude CDI ebooks in the NZ, can individual IZs set this setting to filter CDI ebooks from their Primo V? I got to think about that. So this is not a giant thing. It's a small thing, but I just want to make sure you're clear on it. So this would only be a concern in a blended search when you're talking about ebooks and the potential for duplicate titles. As I said, Some people say the more the merrier. They're going to ignore this setting. That's just fine. I would guess maybe see how much of an issue it is before you get too concerned about this. Oh, and so I saw another question. So I just added this slide because last night I was asked this question. What if we set this workaround up previously before this functionality was out? And so Lori and I were talking about this before the session. You might have heard us because I wanted to make sure that this is correct. So if you happen to check this box on your electronic collection to prevent the display of duplicate ebook records and you want to use the new configuration, then go in and uncheck that box on the CDI tab of those electronic collections. So, and this is a this feature, this do not show as full text available in CDI, even if active in Alma, does show in analytics. And I just did a test. I clicked a couple this morning, but I won't see the output until tomorrow because I have to do the ETL process. So I want to see if I can identify the ones that are checked. And so I'm not going to put the Q&A out until I get this answer so that I can work on this. Okay. And get that answer for you if the analytics route works to identify which electronic collections you might need to go look at. Okay, here is another setting in Alma. If a collection is inactive in Alma, you can mark it as available online only in the CDI. So this is only the availability flag we're talking about here. Shows available in search results. Direct link to the full text will appear in the full record. So this is only for collections that use that link in record instead of the link resolver. Another option that you have, and we're just talking about the availability flag here, is we subscribe to only some titles in this collection equals no. So if this, if this were an aggregator package, you would always check that. But let's say you're talking about a selective package in Alma and you want to mark the entire content with that available online flag in CDI, regardless whether the portfolio's activation in Alma is activated in Alma. And so this, again, would only work for collections that use link and record rather than the link resolver. So those are those 4 scenarios where you can control that flag. Now, I want to talk about easy active versus fully flexible settings. Earlier in this session, I demonstrated a filtered search, resources you own and to which you subscribe, and then the expanded search, resources where you don't have online access. This topic pertains to those results in the expanded search results. Most new Alma customers have their environment set to use the easy active setting. This means that most of the collections in the Central Discovery Index are searchable and will display as results in the expanded search. The exceptions are those collections that require a subscription to search. Maybe the vendor asked us to not include them. There's reasons why they're turned off by default. And I mentioned this also because there's a functionality and supporting documentation based on the setting. And I'm going to pull up that doc later to just show you, be mindful of the setting you're using and the documentation you're looking at because of those settings can be different. So looking at the easy active setting, a majority of the collections in the Central Discovery Index are searchable. Exceptions include those collections that require a subscription to search. And then here's a link to the documentation about easy active setting. Now the fully flexible setting. Not a lot of you are on this setting, but you might be. If you were a Primo customer, when you migrated to Alma, you might be using the fully flexible setting. With this setting, your search activations in CDI follow a similar workflow as used in Primo Central. Remember how for that expanded search, you would pick and choose. You would say, click, 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 make these show up. With Easy Active, they're just everything that can be enabled is enabled. And with fully flexible, you would choose those. And what you had marked in Primo Central as you came over is what is turned on or enabled for search only in Alma. And so with this setting, your search activations in CDI followed a similar workflow as was used in Primo Central, and that all items that are set to full text available in Alma are automatically searchable in CDI. So that is not anything different between the two settings. And then additional collections may be activated for search in CDI, and those are the collections that will show up in the expanded search. So what setting is my library using? And so the easiest kind of litmus test I could find out, and I see someone wrote that they are fully flexible. They sent that in. If you, okay, so most Alma customers are using the Easy Active setting to manage CDI activations. Was your library a Primo customer prior to migrating to Alma? Oh, I have a typo there. I got to fix that. Then you might be using the fully flexible model. Even if you were a Primo customer prior, your library might have requested to move from fully flexible to Easy Active. So, you know, I can't say right now, this is definitively the answer. Now, if you do, I did a search for electronic collections in the community zone, and I see this flag available for CDI search activation. I don't see this flag if I'm an Easy Active customer. Or if you do a search in the institution zone, you see that same content here. In the community zone, and you want to activate this for search in the Central Discovery Index, you just see that from the row action menu. That will move this collection to your institution zone. It will not be active. See how the little people here are gray? And you can always choose to deactivate. So there are reasons to be on either one. If you're a consortia, the consortia needs to be on the same. You can't pick and choose within the consortia, so you need that continuity for Alma and Primo to work and play together. Now, if you are fully flexible, and I'm not going to say if you're part of a consortium, this is not for you because that is a group decision. Libraries, you can switch from fully flexible to Easy Active if you wish. You need to open up a case with support to initiate this process. It is not possible to go back down that road the other way. So if you are Easy Active, you cannot switch to fully flexible. Easy Active is kind of the way we're moving. And for some reason, I could not get this hot link to show in blue. So, but I do have a link in here. Grab it off of the slide. Put it in here. Boom. Ooh, hold on. What did I just do? Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that WebEx. Where's my chat? You still see my screen?
We can see your screen. You're on Primo.
My chat went away. Copy. I want to put this link in here. That's the one I just did. And I saw someone asked for this Easy Active setting link. If you just search Alma Easy Active, you're going to get this real high up on the top. Okay. So Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I just blew up my link here. Let's try this again. Copy, paste. There we go. Okay. So that's the easy active stuff. That's the fully flexible stuff. Like I said, this is the easiest litmus test I discovered to determine what you are. And you can switch. A quick note about user roles. The user roles that you need to manage this, a CDI inventory operator role, the electronic inventory operator, and maybe the electronic inventory operator extended role, and the repository manager role to be able to add, edit, delete notes, create, remove blocks, assign activations to other people, etc. We recommend that your electronic resource management librarians have at least the CDI inventory operator role and the electronic inventory operator roles assigned to their user records. That'll allow them to activate any CDI collections that aren't automatically activated. You're still seeing the Primo screen, not the WebEx screen. Is that still true?
Yeah, we can see your Primo, not your slides.
Okay, let me stop sharing and share again. Screen 2. Share. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So this is just what I was showing right here. Love technology. It's good times. Okay, so let's talk about CDI attributes. So I'm going to get in here into Alma and I'm going to do electronic collection. And if I do an advanced search, here's one of my favorite shortcuts, CDI. So you're going to see there's like 10 different search attributes. So you could do an advanced search based on these search attributes. If I go, okay, so you'll see like which collections offer full text linking via link resolver or link in record. So we see the full text linking, full text rights, if it's newspapers, provider coverage, etc. So let's go into CDI type equals, see my ANI database is full text or a hybrid. So we're going to say, show me everything in my institution zone that's a full text collection. So when I see this, I can see a number of CDI search attributes out here. You can see, search rights are free. The full text rights are via the link resolver. Full text linking is a hybrid. The CDI type is full text collection. That was what my limit was on. I can see my flag for do not show as full text available in CDI. I can see my collection ID, last market update. And then I also, remember, you do also have some facets over here if you need to drill down more. If I go into the collection record, there is a CDI tab. And what do I see in here? We subscribe to only some titles in this collection, that yes or no. I can see do not show as full text available in CDI, so that option. And when I come back down here, what is the CDI frequency update? So how often, at what intervals do we get that information from the provider? That full text rights, our content, our coverage percentage for this collection. Resource types, what's in here? When's the last time we got an update? That there was a change? Is this a newspaper? No. So that's that information, where you can find it in Alma. Okay, our next topic, we have some different troubleshooting scenarios to go through. So in this first example, let's say you're looking for a specific article, you've entered it in exactly, and you don't see anything. So at this point, the article you might not have, your library might not have full text availability. So the best choice to start would be clicking on expand my results. So let's say you expand your results and you do find it and you see the no online access. So, okay, my library doesn't get it. And maybe they come talk to you, submit a ILL or whatever. But maybe you look at this and say, I should have this. We have this journal. This was, published in 2020, April 27th, 2020. And what you would do is go into Alma and look for that portfolio and double check it. And so is it in the institution zone? Is it in the community zone? So if you should have, if you found it in the institution zone versus in the community zone, if you determine that you should have access, you could activate the portfolio or collection. If the resource is already activated, let's say you found it in your institution zone and it's activated, double check that coverage statement. Maybe there's an embargo. Maybe it just falls outside of that coverage. But what if when you click that expand your results, you still didn't see your article? Well, in that case, the article isn't indexed in the Central Discovery Index. You might search for the publication in Alma to see if your collection is indexed in the CDI. If it is, it might be that the vendor supplying data to the CDI didn't include that specific article. And you can see if that's the case by searching for the article in the vendor's website. So let's say that article is active in the CDI and Alma, but I still can't see it in the discovery system. So you've activated the resource in Alma, it's activated in CDI, but when you go into the discovery system to test it, you're still not seeing search results from that resource. If you see results coming from the collection and the availability flag is still set to no online access out here, just this flag, you'll need to wait 48 to 72 hours for CDI to process that activation at that article level. If you're not seeing search results even in the expanded search, then check the collection in Alma. Does that resource require a subscription to search? Does the collection have the indication that CDI activation is required? Then it'll need to wait for that 48 to 72 hours before the citations appear in the search results. In the Knowledge Center, we do have that easy active collections list, and you can link to it from the Knowledge Center. This tells you what collections are automatically searchable and which ones are not. If I pull this up, I just want to give you that link in the chat. There you go. And you can link into this list. See that there. Let's go back to my PowerPoint. Let's say when you click on this full text link, you're prompted to log in. In this scenario, it relates to authentication. So I say it's available online, I click on it, and it wants me to pay. So why, if the library owns this or subscribes to it, why am I being asked to pay? So what you want to do at that point is check the service level proxy in Alma. So in the electronic service editor, double check this proxy here. If none was added, you might want to add the proxy link to the service. If it's been added already, make sure it's correct. If the proxy is correct, you'd want to make sure that you have the linking parameters in place for this collection. Now, not all vendors have required these linking parameters. You see, I'm going into the service. I'll go to the linking tab. And if you scroll down to the bottom, these linking parser parameters, these would need to be filled in. So make sure those are filled in. Make sure they're filled in correctly, that you have, this is how this vendor identifies you, and then whatever's in here is part of that linking linking process above and we're at the service level here. So the Knowledge Center has specific information about the Central Discovery Index. It's under the Primo kind of umbrella. I got away from the chat when here we go. Here we go. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything that I could address. Are there any other questions that I can go back to? You know, we've got plenty of time. Is there anything I need to go back to and address?
Jenny, we did get one question in the chat asking you to go over link and record, and if you could show some examples of that compared to using the link resolver.
Okay, let's see. Oh, let's go cowboy here, right? CDI. Link and record. So this is collection. So here's one. And if I go, here's my collection. And so this is at the collection level. But if I go into the portfolio list, so early English prose fiction, voyage around the world. So let's edit the portfolio. And let's look at linking. So here's, okay, so there's the client ID, service parser parameters. That's for the service. And so it's going to give you that journal. And let's go look at this out in Primo. So this title is A Voyage Around the World, if you will. I don't want that. Not a very great big record as you see here. Let's go out to discovery. Oh, I could also use my little display in discovery. We do this as an everything search. So here's the book. It's available online, so the availability flag is on, which it should be. It's activated in Alma. I got this out of the institution zone. And so it looks like there are two links. One English prose fiction, one through ProQuest Learning. And I still see the U resolver showing up down there. Now this is wanting me to log in. It doesn't know who I am. And I don't know if I can get this with our employee login. Yeah. We can access our own content, but not through this. So it's still showing U resolver. Then those are articles. So let's see what else. Let's come back here. Let's go the triumphs of God's revenge against the crime. Okay, display and discovery. Let's see what this one looks like. So again, those two collections. Source is the library catalog. I display that source record. So the link is actually in the portfolio. edit portfolio, linking. That's an incorrect. I just threw that in there. That's not our client ID. Can you talk about, here's another question. Can you talk about activation settings for hybrid collections? What might we need to change when a collection goes from link resolver to hybrid? I don't know. And I'll put that in the Q&A. How does the proxy settings within the electronic collection work with the proxy settings within the central index and proxy setup page? So when you activate an electronic collection, and let's say it's a full text collection. Okay, so let's go back to, can I get back to the collection level with my back button or not? Sometimes Alma gets a little cranky about this. Here we go. No, this is still these are my portfolios. I want to go back one more. Take me to the, holy cow. Okay, what did we do? We did an advanced search, electronic collection, full text linking, Lincoln record. So when you activate an electronic collection, when you go through the wizard, very often you're not really worried about proxying at the collection level, because are people searching early English prose fiction? No, they're generally searching those portfolio level records. So a lot of times people even suppress the bib record for the collection. Now this is completely a personal choice. And so if you're not displaying this bib record, proxying at the electronic collection doesn't do anything for you. You do want to, at the portfolio level, you want to proxy there. So you're proxying the service, not the portfolios. So wait, let me come back here. Here's my collection. General, so it's an aggregator package, it's full text. Under additional, is it free? Is the proxy enabled? I don't necessarily need to do it here at this collection level. But if I go down to the service level, edit, and I go to my linking, this is where you would proxy. Because this, people are going to be searching for, trying to access these portfolios, not the collection itself. So what does the proxy settings within the central index and proxy setup page do? Tell me where I'm supposed to look. Oh, you're giving me a linky link. Ah. I'm probably going to have to read this, and I'm going to have to come back to this. I don't want to read this in front of you. So I'll add this to the Q&A. But thanks for asking. I want to mention one more thing. Alma, easy, active, And easy active is like smushed together. And fully flexible, I've mainly seen it written as 2 words. And I saw on one page it kind of went back and forth. And I've asked the doc team to get that cleared up. But see, if I just search Alma Easy Active, I just want to mention that you need to know what your setting is. And then you also need to pay attention to the doc you're reading and how it relates to your environment. And I know that I've just been on this documentation so much. See, I can go back to this is a fully flexible with consortia page. So I'm like paging back if this were a big manual like I used to have on my desk for Voyager. So this is fully flexible in relation to a commute or a network zone, a consortia. And then if I go back one more page, this is the fully flexible settings. So just pay attention to this if you're looking at the single activation documentation. Again, if I look at electronic collection name, I'm just throwing a name out here. I am in an easy active environment here. This is what I see. I don't see, remember that little available for search activation in CDI. I don't see that here. But let me close this down so Alma doesn't get crabby. Because Alma gets confused if you have too many of these, more than one Alma open. So this environment is fully flexible. Oh, it's a different password. I do a search here. Well, this is a different Alma environment. Oh, I don't want title. Well, now I'm not finding electronic collection. Let me just come back to me. No, I'm not seeing that flag in here. Here it is. So there we go. So take a look, know what your settings are, know that you can move from fully flexible to easy active. I've got some work to do on the Q&As. I had a few questions from last night and a few questions from today. I will be posting, I'll have my manager post the PowerPoint right away, but the Q&A I know I won't release because I want to do a little more testing with analytics, and I need to see some results in the morning. Another question, if I do make the collection bib record available, should you also make the e-collection level proxy active? So it would be on the collection and the service. Yeah, if you do make the bib record available, you should, if that's what it needs. If you don't show it, then it's answering its own question, but. And see how it works, see what the behavior is. If you have the collection, you have the proxy set up, when you go in, where does your user go? But yeah, you might have some more advanced users that know what collections they want and use Primo to find it. Okay, so we have these blocked for an hour and a half, just so I don't have to race through the information. And it is the top of the hour, so we've been about an hour. Anything else for me right now? Okay, I don't see anything. I'm going to grab the chat, copy my document so I don't lose anything. And I'll work on these and hopefully have these published tomorrow. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go ahead and stop sharing. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And happy Thanksgiving for those of you that are here in North America and celebrating. Bye-bye. Have a good day.